Last year, you kind of got to see the gruesome part of Rip's life before he came to the ranch. This is Rip's life when he gets to the ranch.
I love that flashback scene with young Beth and young Rip when they first meet.
Don't catch that one.
Why not?
Don't want him caught. That's the horse that killed my mother.
It's a beautiful moment, beautiful scene. I mean, you get to get a little bit more knowledge of where we came from as characters, you know, and how we fell in love.
You know, even then, that young Beth could eat him alive. Not in her sexuality, but just in her mind. Like, she can sum him up in a way and say things to him that he does just go over his head.
Why not put him down or sell him?
You're applying logic to a situation where it isn't wanted.
I don't know what that means.
But somehow, on a soul level, they connect. And it's an odd meeting of souls, but it works.
It's amazing how kind of quick they fall for each other and just the immediate kind of connection that they have.
I don't do scared anymore.
I mean, you start to see where the hardness has kicked in. Because last time we saw her, she's crying and she's lost and she's terrified. And then you start to see the beginnings of the monster.
You're starting to get some swish in them hips, young lady.
Eat shit, you fucking redneck.
It's a fake confidence, I think, then. I think her confidence now isn't. But then I think, you know, there's a vulnerability to her. There's an uncertainty, there's an awkwardness. She hasn't come into her power yet. She's so intelligent already. She's a spark. Like in the mirror, looking at her body. What you see with Beth is the mind. Like, if I do this, what effect does that have on you? What effect does that have on men? Oh, that's interesting. And she logs it. She's the most intelligent. And she uses all that stuff. And she learned very young.
Anytime you can flash back and show the earlier stages of Rip and Beth, I think it's a win.
I was there on the day, actually. I really wanted to be there and watch it, witness it.
I got to see some of it. The kid that's playing young Rip is fantastic.
Kylie, who plays young Beth, is so talented. She really sort of embodies the spirit pre-me. Like, I remember we would talk to her and I'd say, you're not, like, yes, you've seen season 1, but she's not formed yet. When you play her, don't do an impersonation of what I'm doing.
Rip living in the bunkhouse is an obstacle you can overcome if that's what you choose to do, Beth.
Don't you dare make this about me. He looks at you like a father.
You start to see the inner workings of Beth in this season, which we got a hint of last year.
There's this edge with her. She's a real wild spirit. He's trying desperately for his family to come back together, but for all the hurting he's done in his life, he can't herd these people. They're too wild. Okay, honey. I'll go ruin someone else's day.
That's the plan, Daddy.
I think that Dan Jenkins is a pacifist. He doesn't really want to be violent or hurt anybody, but he's now in this new world, this new habitat, and he's being threatened. His family's being threatened.
Open your hand.
So he decides to get a gun and a bodyguard. And the bodyguard teaches him how to fire a gun.
Action.
And Dan Jenkins does. And kind of enjoys it. Realizes that this is not something he wants to do, but feels the power. Feels what it's like to pull that trigger. He is now fighting on a more level playing field.
God! No, put it down!
But they have this upper hand, which is violence, physical violence.
Pull the trigger. You're the devil. I'm already the devil.
Man, I think you just run down and say, whoa.
I'm afraid there might be a little more to it than that.
Wait, you know how to do it?
Well, I ain't gonna win no money at it, but I don't think you are either.
Jimmy has one living relative, and that's his grandfather. And I think especially the more time he spends around the Duttons and at the Yellowstone, the more Jimmy comes to value family and to understand the significance of family. And so for that line to be crossed and for his grandfather to be assaulted really sends him on a sort of urgent mission. It really sort of raises the stakes for him.
Is there any extra work I could do around here?
When a cowboy needs extra money, he wins it.
I think if he gets beat up at a bar, he can go ask Rip for help. In this case, he can't. Like, he doesn't want his new family to know about this past. No one can help him. He doesn't have the easy out.
Whoa!
Ryan Bingham is like an incredible actor and a really fun guy to hang out with.
You all right?
And also just like, I had the funny revelation later in the season that like maybe Walker is Jimmy's best friend. Because everybody else is sort of already has their squad. Like everybody else on the show already has like friended up. And Jimmy and Walker are like the two new guys. Any scene where they get to hang out was a real delight for me to shoot. And Ryan Bingham also is an incredible cowboy. Like Ryan Bingham has been doing Western shows since he was very young and is like an incredible roper, an incredible horseman. He's a great cowboy. So that's very exciting too, and really true to life for Walker to give Jimmy advice.
Point your belt buckle to the sky. Keep your eyes on the top of the barn. Open up your feet. Say, whoa.
Jeppen's one of my favorite actors on the show. Jimmy's one of my favorite characters. It's almost like Rip and Walker and Jimmy have the most in common of just being like these orphan kind of type characters that get adopted by Yellowstone, and so Walker has a bit of a soft spot for him.
Whoa!
There you go.
Whoa!
I think automatically Walker kind of just can see that he's willing to learn, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of respect for him in the beginning. Maybe he just needs a friend.
Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, Jimmy, we saw you out there looking just like Andrea Fapani.
Who?
I'm gonna check the airfield in Deer Lodge. I'm starting to think that plane's from another state.
Stop wasting your time, son. Just go to the source, all right? I want him to know what we know.
And you think that's a good idea?
If I didn't think it was a good idea, I wouldn't have suggested it.
As Jamie re-enters the family and thinks he's gotten back in at least a little bit, knowing he has to pay a few prices, I think he's forgotten completely what he shared with Sarah in the magazine, and that it's still going to come out. And she continues to call him and hound him for verification of quotes, and Jamie thinks ignoring it might help at first.
Just answer it, son.
Yes.
Jesus.
Apologies.
When he doesn't ignore it, he tries to talk her on the phone and say, look, I'm rescinding all of my quotes and whatnot. He realizes in that moment that's not going to happen. The story's going to run and he's going to pay for it.
I'll have legal call and walk you through your lack of options.
It's one of these moments where I think Jamie thinks that if I confront this and I just deal with the punishment immediately, then it's done. And we can work our way out of the article or deny it or all these things. And he would just have to take the punishment that's coming. So knowing that, he's got to go to Beth because he can't quite go to John yet. Beth is like a practice run.
I have a really big problem, and I could use some advice.
Oh my God. You're pregnant.
So he goes to Beth to sort of mention this.
I gave an interview.
You're a selfish piece of shit.
She does not take it well. Drags him through the hallway. And in front of John for Jamie to confess. It was a tough scene to shoot. It was tough for both of us because Kelly just physically having to get angry enough to do what she did. Jamie's always battling with how to respond in these moments, especially with Beth, and gets physical himself, and that's really tricky to shoot, while also trying to understand why is Jamie just gonna take this beating. He thinks if he just goes and confesses to John, that's gonna be enough punishment and we can move on from there. But he comes back and it's just one thing after another and he's feeling cut out anyway. And now I think used, and now I think angry, and now I think when Jamie gets angry, all that anger that's been there for decades, it comes out in a big way.